At the 2019 D23 Expo, Disney announced several new projects for the Disney parks that were ultimately cancelled during the COVID-19 pandemic to ease up on budgets. Since then, Disney has slowly been reviving some of these projects, bringing them back to life, although some in very different forms. So, have these cancelled attractions actually been revived by Walt Disney Imagineering? A major highlight of the transformation of Epcot's future world to World Celebration was the replacement of Innoventions with a new festival centre, hosting demonstrations and exhibits on the lower 2 floors, and a park on the roof with a view of a new fireworks show, likely being used for firework dessert parties. As demolition of Innoventions had already begun in 2020, the festival centre was altered significantly to become Communical Hall and Plaza, announced in 2022 and opening in 2024. This one-storey building hosts exhibits during Epcot's festivals, but is definitely a budget-cut version of the original version of the home to Epcot's various festivals. Notably, the firework viewing spot was cut, meaning that Disney actually lost out on potential revenue. To make up for this, in 2025, Geo82 opened in the former sponsor lounge at Spaceship Earth, a lounge loosely themed to Spaceship Earth that offers firework viewing parties, something that was originally cut from the cancelled festival centre. With the opening of Communical Hall and Geo82, the majority of the planned elements for the festival centre were realised in World Celebration, just not in one multi-storey festival centre. Another project confirmed to have been revived is Reflections, a lakeside lodge, which was originally announced in 2018. The new DVC hotel was to be built on the former location of Disney's abandoned River Country water park, finally bringing a replacement to the water park over 20 years after it closed. Despite clearing the land for the hotel, construction stopped in 2020, and the hotel was thought to be cancelled. However, in 2024, Disney confirmed that their next DVC was to be built in the same location called Disney's Lakeshore Lodge, dropping the Reflections title. Whilst no concept art for the new hotel had been announced, permits and construction seem to indicate that the Lakeshore Lodge will be the same design as the cancelled Reflections, meaning this project has been revived at Walt Disney World. In 2019, Disney announced their replacement to the Wonders of Life Pavilion in Epcot to be the Play Pavilion, where guests could take part in multiple different individual interactive experiences with different Disney characters, such as an animation class with Edna Mode or a dance class with Wreck-It Ralph. Again, this project was cancelled in 2020 and was thought to be cancelled completely. 5 years later, in July 2025, Disney announced the return of the Magic of Disney animation to Disney's Hollywood Studios, featuring some new interactive experiences with different characters. Whilst it won't open until 2026, so we don't know what experiences are present, we do know there will be an animation experience and a place to interact with different Disney characters. Moving over to Disney California Adventure, also announced in 2019 was an expansion to Avengers Campus, with one e-ticket attraction where guests could fly in a Quinjet before it separated into jetpack-style vehicles and flew around a battle scene set in Wakanda. A rumour for this new e-ticket was that the jetpacks would use a form of KUKA arm technology to create the secondary ride vehicle. Just like everything else discussed here, the project went quiet during the COVID-19 pandemic, and in 2022 it was announced that a new e-ticket attraction was being designed for Avengers Campus, now themed to the multiverse and only featuring one ride vehicle. At the 2024 D23 Expo, more details about the attraction were revealed, including that it would be called Avengers Infinity Defense, and that one scene would take place in Wakanda. At the same expo, Disney announced a 4th attraction would be coming to DCA's Avengers Campus, Stark Flight Lab. This was to be a smaller flat ride where guests would train to be an Avenger, using KUKA arm technology to whip guests around. Whilst the original Avengers e-ticket was not built, DCA's Avengers Campus did get an expansion that included an e-ticket attraction taking guests to Wakanda, and an attraction that uses the KUKA arm technology. Another attraction announced at the 2019 D23 Expo was a Mary Poppins attraction for Epcot's United Kingdom Pavilion, and although details about the attraction are scarce, after its cancellation it was revealed that the attraction was to be a teacups attraction that used projection mapping. Shortly after the Mary Poppins attraction was cancelled in 2020, plans for the expansion to Walt Disney Studios Park at Disneyland Paris began to change. In 2022 it was confirmed that a Tangled teacup attraction was coming to that park, as well as an English garden. The combination of an English garden that would take inspiration from Mary Poppins and a teacup attraction leads me to believe that these new additions to the park in France were likely influenced by the cancelled Mary Poppins attraction. It's definitely a loose link, but feels like too much of a coincidence that when one teacup attraction was cancelled, another began development. Of all the attractions cancelled during the COVID-19 pandemic, elements of the festival centre still managed to get built in Epcot, whilst Reflections seems to have been revived, now known as Disney Lakeshore Lodge. To a lesser extent, DCA is still receiving an expansion to Avengers Campus, but now with 2 attractions using elements from the original cancelled e-ticket. Similarly, elements from Epcot's cancelled Play Pavilion seem to be going to be added to the newly opening Magic of Disney Animation at Hollywood Studios, now in the form of an animation studio coming to life rather than a pavilion about playing. Finally, the loosest link is the Walt Disney Studios Park receiving a teacup attraction and an English garden area, now that Epcot's Mary Poppins attraction was cancelled. But what do you think? Have these projects actually been revived, or is this just a coincidence? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below on what you want to see next on the Distory channel.